So back in 2020, I fractured my foot while stand-up paddleboarding in the ocean. Okay, it's not normally a dangerous activity, but when you surf the shore break, it can become a dangerous activity, and that's what I was doing. So I jumped off, not realizing how shallow it was. I knew better. I knew I shouldn't be surfing the shore break, but there I was, and I fractured my foot. A year and a half later, I fractured my tibia up on my knee playing soccer, and it was such a dumb injury, so frustrating. But basically, in less than 2 years, I fractured 2 bones, and I had never fractured bones before I fractured my foot. So as I'm sitting on the couch for 10 weeks, thankfully I didn't need surgery in either case, but I did know that something was wrong and I really need to make some changes. So I kind of looked at the previous decade or so, and I had done mostly low impact or no impact workouts, which is totally fine. But if I decide I want to play soccer one day, or, I want to do just something more intense, I realized that I actually do have to train for that. It is a use it or lose it situation. And I didn't use it, and then I lost it. My body definitely told me that I lost it. So I am on a journey to regain some of my athleticism, and I'm in kind of a frustrated situation where a perfect storm happened when I did increase my protein, because I realized I had been severely under-eating my protein, which is probably why I lost so much muscle. So I've been increasing my protein. At the same time, I kind of overdid some workouts. So my knee started to swell on a regular basis. So then I had to really pull back from activity, but I was still able to lift weights for the most part, obviously selectively. Anyways, just in that process, I did gain muscle, yay, but I also gained a lot of fat. So I'm in a situation now where I want to keep my muscle, lose my fat, and regain some athleticism. So I'm on kind of a multifaceted journey. Shout out to Natasha Ocean, because I have learned so much from her. I do hope she comes back to YouTube. She just said her goodbye, and she said she didn't know she was coming back, but I do hope she does. Her videos are amazing though, if you want to check her out. She is so great at explaining things, and some of the things I really learned from her was just approaching fitness in a very healthy and sustainable way. So I know that if I want to be healthy and sustainable, I just need to be chill about the process. That can be really frustrating, especially when you don't fit into your clothes, but you want to. I decided that I really wanted to go ahead and get a fitness watch, and I started looking in January of 2024 this year. And I looked for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to start tracking my recovery, sleep, things like that, because I know how important that is. Yeah, I just wanted the data and the information as kind of a point of reference of, okay, well, I got a really good night's sleep here. How was my nutrition and exercise the day before? Here, I didn't have as good a night's sleep. What were the factors involved? And so to really start be able to piece together what habits really are helpful for me and what habits really need to go. So that was one reason that I wanted this health and fitness tracker. The other is just to be able to enjoy the small wins, to see that I'm moving in a positive trajectory, and then just to celebrate those, because I don't fit into my clothes yet, and that's ultimately what I would like. I can't play soccer yet because I can't run. There's a lot of things that I really want that I'm quite a bit a ways from achieving those. And so I just want to be able to have metrics that I can celebrate along the way. In my research, and I'm a researcher, which I'm guessing you are too, and that's why you're here. But in my research, I really came to look at a few different options. So one option was Whoop, and a lot of athletes do endorse it, or a lot of athletic people really endorse it. I loved Whoop for the fact that it didn't have access to my phone per se, that I wasn't going to get text messages. I wasn't looking for anything like that. I don't care about the text messages or phone calls feature. I just really want the data, sporty tracking type of situation. So Whoop really appealed to me up until I realized it was $30 a month. And hey, I've eaten a lot of humble pie in the last couple of years, and I know that I am just not at an athletic place right now, so I don't want to spend $30 a month for this information. You know, I'm just not in that stage right now. So Whoop didn't make the cut. I considered Fitbit, but to be honest, I just don't like Fitbit. I don't like the look of it. So I didn't really consider it for very long. So it really just came down to Apple versus Garmin. Now, both are great. Even though I have an iPhone and a Mac and I love Apple, I did not have an Apple Watch. I had no plans on getting an Apple Watch because I just didn't want my phone on my hand, on my wrist. So yeah, I just never looked into Apple Watches because I want to be less connected to my phone and not more connected. And I'm plenty connected. Trust me, my phone is like another appendage. If for any reason I am able to disconnect from my phone, I don't want it walking around with me. However, Apple does have a ton of health tracking and data, which is fantastic. And so it really came down to those two. My little sister told me that for her as an Apple Watch user that she's actually less connected to her phone. So an Apple Watch or a smartwatch of any kind might actually help you be less connected. You know, we're all different and we all have different habits and ways that we use our phones. It really just came down to probably the number one reason was battery life. Garmin's battery life is amazing. So we can just segue right into the first thing that I love about my Garmin Vivoactive 5 watch is the battery life. I do about 3 to 4 weightlifting workouts a week and then do walks or bike rides or jump rope workouts or whatever. And I'm not charging my watch, I think like maybe somewhere in 7 to 10 day range. I actually forget and then it'll tell me it only has 10% and I'm like, oh, I need to charge this. The battery life is 10 of 10. Absolutely. I am so glad that I went with this watch because of the battery life. One of the things that I was wanting to track was my sleep, and the Garmin is really great. It has a sleep coach. It tells me when I wake up if I had calm sleep, continuous sleep, if I had enough REM or deep sleep, if I needed more than what I got. You know, it gives me some good feedback on my sleep, which I really appreciate. I also enjoy tracking my workouts. Now, I don't use all the features available for tracking my workouts because you can put your weightlifting workouts into the app and then go to the gym. I don't do that step. I mentioned Natasha earlier. I do her workouts now and I basically track all my workouts in the Athlete app with her programs. So just go to strength training on my Apple Watch and I let it count my reps for each of the sets, which most of the time it's accurate depending on the exercise move. Sometimes it's not accurate. You know, I click when the set is done, so I can also track how long I'm resting in between. And then when the whole workout is over, it gives me an overview of you rested for this amount of time and you worked for this amount of time. Yeah, and then I'm also able, of course, to monitor my heart rate during the activity, which I really like as well. Now, GPS tracking workouts is, I think, a really huge benefit of this watch, and it actually does not crazily drain your battery. Again, back to the battery. I love the battery. So I've used it to track my bike rides. When I first bought this watch, I knew it was a possibility that I would get a bike and invest in one, and I have since done that. Now I've only done 1 hour and 7 minutes as my longest ride, so I am not breaking records out here, but I really love this watch. It's very easy for me to kind of get in a quick glance at the speed that I'm going, the distance, and the time, and my heart rate. So I'm getting kind of all of those at a quick glance of my watch. And when the whole ride is complete, you open the app. Once you open your app on your phone, it'll sync to your watch. And then I get data like my elevation change, which in Florida is very small, but I still find it interesting. I can see what my heart rate was at different times during the ride. I can see how fast I'm going at different times during the ride. So I really think it's so interesting. And then of course it maps like where exactly that I went. I haven't used it for a run because I can't run yet, but I have used it for walking as well. So there are tons of sports modes in this watch and I have not used all of them, but I have been paddleboarding for like 14 years or so, 14 or 15. And I have taken it on my the last few paddles. So I've loved it. It gives you, you know, your distance, your time, your heart rate. And then for paddleboarding, it gives you your stroke rate. I usually paddleboard for like a chill workout and just because I love being outside and being on the water. But I still find it super interesting. I've never known how far I've paddled before. So I'm really loving this information. And, you know, maybe one day I will go out for more of a distance goal. One of the metrics that I have come to look at the most is heart rate variability. Now, I knew a little bit about this before I bought the watch, but I'm still learning, to be completely honest, and I'm not going to sit here and explain it. I think there's probably other people who are much better qualified to do that, but I am so encouraged to see how my heart rate variability has steadily improved over the last, several months. And so I really feel like I'm on a good trajectory. It's so interesting to wake up one day and see, oh, my heart rate variability was terrible. And I can look at the day before and consider what my nutrition was like, if I was properly hydrated, and just kind of see if I can pinpoint certain patterns. It's a stat that I look at every single day. So I am a big fan of the HRV data, and a lot of watches do offer this. The cons of the Garmin. So even though the step count is accurate, and yes, I have actually counted and checked the step count, there's one thing, and this may not apply to you, but it does not track my lawn mowing steps, and that really bugs me. I'm an A student. I want credit for my lawn mowing steps. So my phone will say about 45 minutes of mowing will get me about 4,000 steps. My Garmin, it barely moves. It barely moves, and it's so frustrating. And I'll put a little graphic on the screen to show you the last time I mowed my lawn. I put it on a GPS walking, and so you can see kind of where I went and all the circles and squares that I'm making. But it said I walked 1.87 miles, but my step count barely moved. So I don't know, I've maybe just discovered some glitch in the system. I don't get why it doesn't work that well. I think that it does count even if your arm doesn't swing, but for some reason, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Again, I'm not really gonna comment on the text or any of those features because I don't really use it for that. I do get notifications sometimes when I do receive a text, but again, it's not something that I really like or look for, and in fact, it was kind of a deterrent. But overall, I don't feel more connected to my phone wearing this. I just do really love it for the fitness and health tracking benefits. And also worth noting, I got the cream colored band, and I thought for sure it'd be dirty by now, but I've done yard work in it, pulled weeds, done the whole thing, and it's still pretty clean, which I think is so amazing. If you are looking to upgrade maybe from a step count, or you're like me and you're just wanting to kind of invest one time in something that's really good and will last a long time, I think the Garmin Vivoactive watch is the perfect intro into fitness tracking, and I know this can grow with me for a very long time. When I invest in something, I like to invest for the long haul as much as possible. Hopefully this will continue to work out really well. I will provide the link in the description if you want to look into it. So I hope wherever you're at in your journey that you're enjoying it and you are feeling encouraged. Hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this review was helpful. Bye!